My Brother's Keeper DC. So great to have you here. This is an exciting moment for a program that I know a lot of people hope will move the needle.
Well, good morning. I mean, it is an exciting program. I mean, Barack Obama pulled together this program back in January 2014, My Brother's Keeper. And Washington, D.C. is now doubling down on our work for youth in the city.
And what sort of activity can we expect around this reinvigoration? As I mentioned a moment ago, Mayor Bowser has sworn in some ambassadors, but what's the aim? What's the goal?
The aim is we have four major areas: education, opportunities, justice, and health. Those four areas, we're seeking to decrease barriers in those areas using both existing programs, trying to identify additional programs as well. And these MLK ambassadors, these are MLK commissioners for Martin Luther King. We made that connection yesterday. It was an exciting rally, an exciting program. And now they're also ambassadors for the My Brother's Keeper.
And how do you move the needle in terms of individual young people? How do you identify the people who would benefit most, and what sorts of opportunities might they have going forward?
So we have some good initiatives going forward. In particular, at our Department of Employment Services, there's a program that is called Career Connections. They identify young men and women, but particularly young men fall into this program that have been having trouble finding work. And they may have barriers. They may be reentry and been justice involved. And so with this particular program, the city invests money into particular employers, pay for their employment for a particular time frame, about 6 weeks, hoping that they will learn those soft skills and those job skills to be able to get the full-time employment they need. That's just an example. My Brother's Keeper will be heavily involved in the Summer Youth Employment Program that we have every year, now named after our late Marion Barry. So My Brother's Keeper will help with that program and making sure that the young men that are engaged in that program also get the additional services that they need.
Can you talk about the benefits that a young person has when there is a strong male figure in their lives, whether a dad is in the home or not? What sorts of things do you think are the benefits of that role model, that mentor, that person to talk to, that person to lean on?
Well, you said it right there, right? That person to lean on, that example. The best thing in human behavior, I'm a physician, right, by trade, and the best thing in human behavior is model behavior. We learn our cues from the steady, consistent loved ones in our families. So an example for me, I mean, my personal example, my father was cocaine addicted my whole childhood. And so having a mentor in the neighbor down the street, Mr. Thompson, that mentor showed me, in addition to my mother's steady hand, showed me what it meant to be a man, showed me the examples of what men really do, and allowed me to move forward the needle. And so these families, these individuals that choose to be part of programming that we have in the city, that's just part of the work that needs to be done in order to help them reach, sustainable manhood.
Why do you think your neighbor stepped up the way he did?
Well, I think he was a man of faith, felt that it was his obligation to community, and that's really what we need our community to do at the end of the day. We need mentors to step up. We have a 500 for 500 program that's also falling under the DCPS, or the public school system. Finding mentors and connecting mentors, that's another My Brother's Keeper type of program. So we need mentors to step up and make sure that they understand how important it is for men to give back to other young men, and particularly also young women, but other young men in the community.
Is there anything about the day-to-day work that you do and the day-to-day challenges, maybe frustrations, maybe sorrows?
Yeah.
Is there anything in terms of what you see on a daily basis and the work that you're dedicating your life to that led you to accept another significant responsibility from the mayor?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm the chief medical examiner. And so every violent death that occurs in the District of Columbia comes into my office. Literally. And I am a practitioner as well. So I'm not just an administrator. I have a caseload that I keep, examinations that I perform, and families that I talk to on a regular basis.
So you see children.
So I see young adults, I see children, I see the elderly. I see all the homicide victims that are shown on newscasts across this city. They come into my office. And so if I can be on the prevention side, I'm a forensic pathologist, and internists, they have a prevention side. They'll have smoking cessation. They'll do a run and walk for cardiovascular disease. Well, my prevention is these types of invigoration of social programming that allows for young people and even adults to make better choices towards their health, so they don't have a timely demise and have to come to the medical examiner's office.
Going forward, can you talk about how people listening to our conversation now, whether they be in the business world, whether they be in the faith community, whether they be individuals who say, you know what, I have a couple hours a day and I would love to make even a small difference, because at the end of the day there probably is no such thing as a small difference. You step up and make that commitment to be there for a young person. That's a huge difference. So how do people tap into the opportunities that are there, and what would you say to people who are on the fence?
So there's three ways. You can either grow the work, that means you have a program, so we're looking for programs that are operating in the District of Columbia that want to have the My Brother's Keeper stamp and be accountable to My Brother's Keeper. That's growing the work. We have the ability to support the work. You may have the ability to provide technical assistance to programming. You may know how to get grants from the federal government. You may know how to do taxes for a nonprofit, and you want to give away your services to My Brother's Keeper programs. So we need you to support, provide that techno capacity building. And then the last way, you can fund the work, right? So you may be a philanthropist. Those people that are on the fence, get off the fence. Lives are at stake, right? People's homes are and relationships are at stake. Come be a part of it. They can get and email us at serve.info@dc.gov, so serve.info@dc.gov, and they can get involved and tell us how they want to become part of My Brother's Keeper.
At every stage of certainly the K through 12 path, there are important lessons to be learned, and there are valuable ways to serve, because whether a young person's in elementary school, going through the challenge that is middle school, junior high school,
Absolutely.
or a teenager, when they're in high school, they're in that pivot to adulthood and the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
There are benefits from adult leadership and guidance.
Yeah, and it needs to be consistent. It doesn't matter if they look like you, if they're the same gender as you. It doesn't even matter if they're in the same home, although adults in the home is always good. But if they're consistent and they're caring, that's important. I got 3 children in every stage of that, in elementary school, in preteen, and then I have a 14-year-old that just turned 14 last week. And so I know the impact of me being in the home and being there for them.
Dr. Roger Mitchell, Jr. is Chief Medical Examiner in the District of Columbia, and he's agreed to step up and serve as chair of My Brother's Keeper, DC. Thanks so much for coming in. This is great work that you're about, and we're grateful for the opportunity for you coming in today to talk about it.
It's good to see you.
Good to have you
Absolutely.
here. We will take a break. We're back with more News Talk right after this.